A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you in our today's VCM on role of women in freedom movement. WMEC of ICA is proud to organize today's VCM under the theme Rashtriya Ekta Divas. The theme is a part of countrywide Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiative and research by Government of India to commemorate and celebrate 75 years of independence. As you may be aware, every year Rashtriya Ekta Divas is celebrated on 31st October on the occasion of birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji. We at WMEC feel honored to be able to organize such programs under the Ekam series, which help in enriching the knowledge about our nation and contribution and sacrifices made by our forefathers for our independence. In today's VCM, we will be discussing role of women in our society and the immense contribution in the freedom movement of our country. Our learned speakers will enlighten us on the contribution made by some famous and some not so famous women freedom fighters whose courage, strength, and dedications toward nation is something to be extremely proud of. We have with us today C.A. Sakshi Jain from Agra, C.A. Rajnandani Jain from Kolkata, and C.A. Priyanka Tebalwala from Mumbai to enlighten and deliberate on today's topic. The moderator for our today's VCM is C.A. Mohsineen Mirza from Lucknow. She has 10 years of experience in financial management and holds dual bachelor's degree in law and commerce from University of Lucknow. She has a certification in international financial reporting standards from ICAI. Over to you, madam, for taking the proceedings ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. It is a moment of great pride for me to be a moderator for today's event on a topic that is a role of women in freedom movement. We are celebrating 75 years of independence, and it is imperative that we remember some of these women with extraordinary courage and commitment to bring a change. Mahatma Gandhi once said, to call women the weaker sex is a libel. It is men's injustice to women. If by strength is meant moral power, then women is immeasurably man's superior. Has she not got greater intuition? Is she not more sacrificing? Has she not greater powers of endurance? Has she not got greater courage? Without her, man could not be. If non-violence is the law of our being, the future is with women. Women's contribution to the movement have been from the very beginning. She was the queen who refused to give up her adopted son. She was a mother who did not cry when a son was sacrificed. She was the wife who was willing to wear white, but it was only when the most men folk were in the prison that our women jumped into the arena of freedom struggle. They had always been contributing to the freedom struggle, but the wave of unprecedented enthusiasm that surprised the British government was when they came to the forefront of the struggle. The secretary of the British government had to confess that nothing had disturbed him more than that great awakening among the Indian women and the part that was played by them in Indian politics. We are very proud to be deliberating on this topic today, and our first speaker is none other than a very young and dynamic member, C.A. Sakshi Jain. She's a practicing chartered accountant from Agra. She has been a co-opted member of our electoral board of ICAI, and she is currently a member of WMEC ICAI. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Very good afternoon to all the members present here. And I seriously I hope you all are doing well and safe. So today we are here to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav under the theme of Rashtriya Ekta Divas. Since 2014, on every 31st of October, Rashtriya Ekta Divas or National Unity Day is observed as a tribute to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, an Indian politician who plays a vital role in India's struggle for freedom, and then during the integration of country. He is also called, he has been given a nickname of Iron Man, and he is also popularly known as Founding Fathers of Republic of India. Why? Because it was him who persuaded almost every princely state to accede in India. His commitment to national integrity and in this newly independent country was uncompromised. And talking about the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, so this is a 75-week celebration and an initiative by Government of India to commemorate 75 years of India's independence and the glorifying history of its people and culture. So this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is designed in a way to achieve different objectives. One of the objectives under the theme of Rashtriya Ekta Divas is to acknowledge, is to bring into the spotlight those freedom fighters who remained stayed in the dark and contributed as much as others, but their name were disappeared on the pages of history. So today, as a part of this VCM, under the theme of Rashtriya Ekta Divas, we'll try to honor, we'll try to mark the role of women freedom fighters, at least in the freedom movement. And other than that, also the role of women in our society as a whole. So if we try to look into the history of women freedom fighters, it can be seen, it is full of women pioneers shouldering, critical responsibilities in India's struggle for freedom. The contribution of these women cannot be overlooked. There are not many courageous women who came forward, who raised their voice against Britishers, but unfortunately, some of them are known to us, and many of them remain unsung, unacknowledged, and they did not find place in conventional freedom movement storyline. So today we'll try to celebrate, today we'll try to promote the selflessness, the true spirit, and the undaunted courage of these courageous women. I would like to start with telling you that women participation in freedom movement started as early as 1817. If you have never heard the name, then I would like to tell you that Bhima Bai Holkar, the granddaughter of Ahilya Bai Holkar. Ahilya Bai Holkar was the queen, noble queen of Maratha Empire. Her granddaughter Bhima Bai Holkar gave a tough fight, fought bravely against the British colonel John Malcolm. John Malcolm was the statesman, the historian, and the statesman of the East India Company. And Bhima Bai Holkar gave a tough fight to British colonel. Although, unfortunately, she was decisively defeated. But the point to be noted here is she was the first woman to wield the sword against the Britishers. And it is believed that it is her action of taking East India Company as a soldier inspired Queen of Jhansi, Rani Lakshmi Bai, to fight against British operations under the Great Revolt of 1857. So this is how you see, since ages, women have a great role to play in our society. The act of one woman is inspiring, is empowering the other women to do the same. This is just an example. If I have to line down the examples, I would like to start with the first War of Independence that started in 1857 and continued in 1858. I've already told you that Jhansi Ki Rani, Lakshmi Bai, was the heroine of this great revolt of 1857. And after this, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919 happened, a chapter without which the story of freedom movement is incomplete. A lot of people lost their lives, including women and children. And this is because of the Jallianwala Bagh incident that people of India realized that they are being oppressed by Britishers, and they started a non-cooperation movement 1920. And it was led by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel only, in whose memory this Rashtriya Ekta Divas is celebrated. Let me tell you the names of the women who participated actively in this movement. Sarla Devi, Muthu Lakshmi Reddy, and Sushila Nair, Rajkumari, and many other women. Kasturba Gandhi, wife of Gandhiji, and the women of Nehru family actively participated in this movement. Next into the line is the civil disobedience movement. Civil disobedient movement and the Dandi Satyagraha, Salt Satyagraha in 1930. As soon as the Salt Satyagraha started, the women was pouring out on the streets. They took it as an opportunity to have a prominent participation in freedom movement. And after that, the last call, the final call, instant freedom, the Quit India movement 1942. Usha Mehta, a committed patriot, raised the voice of her freedom. So that's how you see that every freedom movement was incomplete without the participation of women. So this was the example, the way back in history. If I have to talk about current times, then there is a great source of women inspiration in the fields of Indian Army. If you have known the name, I'm talking about the wife of Martyr Major Vibhuti Shankar Dhondiyal, who laid down his life in Pulwama attack of Kashmir. The story of his wife, Nikita Kaul Dhondiyal, is so motivating, is so inspiring that even after losing her husband, within 9 months of their marriage, she stood up strong. She did not sit idle mourning her husband's death, but set a goal towards her life to fulfill her husband's dream. She decided to join Indian Army. And now she is serving as a lieutenant in Indian Army. She gave a clear-cut message to the society that life without a goal and a vision is a complete blank, is an empty one. Especially for women, if you want to live, if you continue to live with your life after any casualty, you should have to make a goal and vision towards your life, no matter what, short term or long term. So these two incidences of Bhima Bai Holkar and Nikita Kaul are more or less similar, but different in a way that Bhima Bai Holkar fought for the independence against Britishers, and this Nikita Kaul Dhondiyal fought for her independence against the captivative mentality, narrow mentality of society that when a woman loses her husband, she is pitied on a ground of her survival without her husband. So she gave the message to the society that it's not always we need a push start to work. It's sometimes we can work on a self start too. It's not always the external motivation that is enough. Sometimes to keep that fire alive in us, we need that internal motivation from inside. So this was the role of women in freedom movement in India. And if I have to talk about the other role of women in the society as a whole, then you, and we all are witnessing that women have completely transformed in modern day. Especially the urban women have changed from being mere homemaker to modern day multitasking women, handling responsibilities without fear. Traditionally, women were expected only to be the caretakers of the family. They were responsible only for the smooth functioning of the family. But now, and also when it comes to take some kind of decision related to family, important decision, they were kept in isolation. But today you can see that women are more independent. Women are taking decisions boldly. Women are standing for their right. Women are walking the path of success. And this can be termed as women empowerment, because women are being able to access opportunities. Women are being able to access every field without any limitations and restrictions. And this is the reason why society has also changed its view, its stand to look at the women. So we have witnessed that in every sphere of life, women have achieved great progress. Be it Kalpana Chawla, a space queen, be it Indra Nooyi, PepsiCo queen, be it Sushma Swaraj, first spokesperson, be it Avni Chaudhary, flight lieutenant, Air Force officer to fly MiG-21, the first women, be it Hima Das to achieve gold medal in athlete, be it Kiran Majumdar, a self-made millionaire, who is the founder, who is the chairperson of Biocoin, the biotech-based company in Bangalore. Be it Roshni Nadar Malhotra. She is the first woman to lead a listed IT company, HCL. And how can we forget the rural women, the role of rural women in today's society? It is because of them. They are supporting the food and nutrition security of India. So this is how you see the role, and these are the perfect examples of the role and importance of women in India. Thank you so much, and over to the moderator.
Thank you, Sakshi. And I totally echo your words when you say that it is the women of past that have inspired and continue to inspire us And as modern women, we continue to build on their courage and their zest for change. So, being born in Lucknow and in Uttar Pradesh, the story of three women who fought for India from 1800s to 19 have always been an inspiration to me personally. Begum Hazrat Mahal, she was the center of the freedom movement in Lucknow. She built fierce troops. She was attacked and she defended Lucknow, and she refused to step down as queen. She challenged, she issued a historic statement and challenged Queen Victoria on 1st November as old as 1858. Though she was defeated, but her spirits were not defeated, and she continued to fight for her freedom, for freedom of Lucknow till her very last breath. So we all continue to get inspired by her. Our next speaker for today is Ranch Nandini ji. She herself is an inspiring woman. Her passion is to inspire the students. She's an avid career counselor, and she continues to inspire the next generations of chartered accountants. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. First of all, I'm very thankful to ICAI Women Directorate that we are organizing such kind of webinars so that we also feel the inspiration to move harder, to push ourselves hard, and to achieve something great in our life. So yes, today's my topic is role of women in our society and related to freedom movement also. When I use this word woman, what one picture hits to my mind is a woman sitting in a house in four walls, inside the four walls. A woman who is pressurized to cook the food, a woman who is pressurized only to take care of her family, a woman who is pressurized to give birth to a child, a woman who is not allowed to step out of the house and have her own identity. Yes, this was a woman phase from which we have evolved. And the credit of this involvement goes to all the freedom fighters who has given a new definition to the term woman. Today's women, I would say, are independent, are taking care of their families, taking care of their children, giving virtues and values to their children, which will help nation to become a good nation or a better place to live in. Women are even professionally working very well. For example, take example of Indira Nui, Kiran Mazumdar, and etc., etc. We are financially growing strong. We are emotionally growing strong. We are even socially growing ourselves very strong. And the reason of this evolvement, I think the whole reason goes to our freedom fighters. Yes, I am talking about Savitribai Phule. Yes, we all are educated today. Yes, we are having our degrees. We are having our good qualification with us. And the whole credit goes to one woman who has fought her life to give education a right to everybody in this world, especially women and the lower caste people. Savitribai Phule was 9 years old when she got married. Her husband was 13 years old. A woman in just 9 years old, a woman of 9 years old had the courage, had this feeling of, hatred within herself that why lower caste people or why women are not allowed to go and educate themselves. Having this inspiration within her, she started a movement. She was studying, her husband was studying, and she was the first lady with her husband's support who has started first school in India. Yes, the first women's school was started by Savitribai Phule. After that, only women started studying. After that mission, when she got the success, she has opened schools and colleges across India. It was not only one school, she has opened many schools and colleges across India. And I guess that is the reason that we are holding all the qualifications. The whole credit goes to Savitribai Phule. Yes, that was not her only mission. She has fought for even pregnant women who were not taken proper care of. She was literally giving another home to all the pregnant women who were not having good, hygiene or good food to take care of themselves. There was a tradition that after husband's death, women were, shaved. She was standing in front of them and asking for an anti-movement, to not to shave the head of the woman whose husband has expired. She has been involved in various movements which were related to women, and she was successful. And today's women, still after such kind of inspiration, are still not able to fight well, still not able to grow themselves well. There are many cases when, because of family pressures or because of the guilt within the woman itself, we are not rising. We feel that family is the basic responsibility, and if I go and do something against it, it will be, like insulting the family which I'm born to. But when we look at Rani Lakshmibai, we will feel after her husband and child was dead, this woman, Rani Lakshmibai, she went with a foreign war with a Britisher. Yes, she did not win, but she is an example not only in India, but across the world for her fighting spirits. I will not leave Jhansi. That was her lines. That was her inspiration. And she fought all alone, heading her own, place. And she is an example. I feel when today's women are facing issues like, marriage, child, pregnancy, and women things to, drop out of their career, I feel we should think about Rani Lakshmibai, the struggle she have went through, how she overcame each and every struggle just single-handedly, and she fought not only for her, but for whole woman community, I would say. There are many examples. I believe woman is having the crucial role to play in society. As soon as a child is born, as soon as life comes, I'm getting some disturbance. Just a Shanu ma'am, I guess you are not.
Hello. Ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Yeah. So today's role of a woman in our society is that important, building a nation. As soon as a new life comes to earth, a woman is the first person, even before the life is coming to the world, she is giving her the nature, the attributes, the attitude to fight into this world. As soon as a new life comes to this world, woman is responsible for the health of that child. Woman is responsible for the sanskars of that child. A woman is responsible for the education of that child. A woman is responsible for creating a profession in which that child will be working, which will be contributing to the GDP, to the national, respect of our country. It is not only a woman, I would say, she is like, God herself. When a woman is, well educated, when woman is having virtues within her, when woman can remind herself of all the freedom fighters who gave a new definition to women, she would realize what role she actually plays. If rape is a problem today, I feel we need more strong women who raise better sons, to educate them, to give them that values that they respect each and every girl. So I feel in order to stop rape in India, we need more educated and strong women with high values in themselves. If for India today unemployment is a problem, I feel women can, be a pillar and break this problem of unemployment in India. If women are educated, more than 50% of people are not employed as a woman because of many reasons which they are facing. And they feel the struggle is real. I also believe the struggle is real. But the struggle which our freedom fighters like Sarojini Naidu, like Savitribai Phule, like Fatima Sheikh, like Rani Lakshmibai have fought, our struggle is not that big. Trust me, our struggle is not that big. Today, we are having small struggles. I agree with that. Maybe big struggles also. But if a woman is not working, if a woman is not educated, if a woman is not able to realize her goals, it is giving rise to a generations of women who will be struggling to make their career, to make her own position into this world. For example, if I am not working today, my daughter will be again facing same struggle. My daughter-in-law will be facing same struggle, and so on. The trends go on. And I feel we as an individual should not be bothered only about our life, because we are giving rise to kind of attitude, environment in which every woman from our own generations will be living. We should, as a moral responsibility, uplift each and every woman we see, because we are the pillars who are giving shape to this society. Not only education, not only related to financial status, but I feel 80% of women are living in depression. And a depressed person can never raise a person well. And if a person with depression is raising someone, obviously all the wrong sides will be reflected in our nation itself. If Sarojini Naidu was not having that, fighting spirit, she was the first political leader in Congress party as a woman. If she could do it and we find an inspiration within her, then we can do it too. We are the pillars of the society. We have to stand strong. We have the moral responsibility to uplift each and every woman in this world. And if we realize that, there was a line which Britishers used for Rani Lakshmibai. If there were 10 women like Rani Lakshmibai, we would have to leave this nation right now. That was the line which was used for Rani Lakshmibai. Imagine the level of, struggle she did, the courage she had. And if today we are imbibing that nature within us, automatically generations will be better. Automatically this India will become more great place to live in. I feel every woman who feels that, we are not making up things good, we are not living up to our expectations, we should take courage from all the freedom fighters who have sacrificed their lives, who have sacrificed their whole profession, everything, and made us a new kind of woman today. If I asked you what are the struggles that women in that time have faced, imagine a girl getting married to a man who was double of her age. We even feel like laughing today, but that was the reality at one point. And Savitribai Phule was a person who was fighting against this. Savitribai Phule herself got married at the age of 9, and she was making sure that child marriages should completely stop now. She was the person who has opened schools across India, and she was the person who has given everybody right to Vedas and our scriptures, which was not given earlier. As a woman was restricted only to kitchen and everything, she was the person who gave women the right to come to schools and educate herself. Still the struggle is not over. Still we are not free. Still we are fighting, and if to give a tribute to the freedom fighters who have fought so much for us, it is our moral responsibility to come strong into this world, to have our own identity into this world, to give shape to this society, and to take care of all others women who are working with us, to uplift them. Because I feel if a woman is uplifting the other woman, automatically the nation will grow. We should be reason behind other success too, and automatically we'll be living in a better society. Woman is not restricted only to professional level. She has reached a great heights at political levels too, at our Navy levels too. She is even pilot. Women are even pilot today. And I feel the freedom to fly, which she is having today, is a gift of all our freedom fighters. who have fought so hard for us. I believe that in order to make a great society, in order to make India a better place to live in order to make our homes a better place to live in order to make ourselves stronger, we need to be a strong woman. And only then we will be able to uplift our whole nation. As a woman, we are not only building ourselves, our own career, we are adding to the nation's GDP, we are adding to nations everything, I feel. Because a society where there are no values and virtues and only financially grown society will be of no use. We are the persons who add values and virtues to the society. We are the person who gives emotions to this society to take care of the lower people. We are having this power within us. As a woman, we are not only multitasker, we have intelligence within us. We are emotionally very strong. And that is the reason why God has made us like that. We are given some special powers, and these special powers, if we use to our best possible ways, automatically we are contributing to the society. And trust me, it is not only your life. When you are living a successful life as a woman, it is an inspiration for many people who look at you. When they see you grow, they get an inspiration from you and they are growing too. So you not living your life up to the mark is not only impacting your life, but you are not giving someone an inspiration to shine into this world. Treat this as a responsibility within you to become stronger, to come stronger and shine into this world. I hope I have conveyed my message regarding role and importance of women. And I know every one of us is struggling, and we are the whole and solely responsible for giving this woman a new definition again. A woman who is treated well, a woman who is not every time, roaming around, who is in a haste to manage her work life and her professional life, to manage her personal life and work life. We will be giving a new definition where men and women will be sharing the equal responsibilities, and women will be coming up and working to their whole potential, I would say. Yes, today we have done it up to a certain extent, but yes, the struggle is still there. Yes, the problems are there, challenges are there, and we as a woman has this responsibility to shape ourselves well and to give new definition to the term woman for the generations to come. So I believe the freedom fighters, have given us the second definition, and we, inspired by the freedom fighters like Savitribai Phule, Sarojini Naidu, Fatima Sheikh, we will be giving another definition to this term woman, making life easier for the women to come and live and survive up to their complete potential, I would say. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I will like to hand back to moderator.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And it is true when you say that the women of past inspire us, they give us courage, and they have contributed immensely to the life that we are living today, to the freedoms that we have, to the opportunities that we have. We owe a lot of gratitude to the women in the past. Savitribai Phule specifically is considered to be the mother of feminism. It is her courage, and it is her passion and her love for change, for bringing gender equality that continues to motivate us. I would like to add here that women who may not every girl gets the same opportunities. So a woman who's choosing to stay at home and be an at-home mother, contribute towards the family, is equally contributing to the society. She is equally contributing towards the welfare of the children, to the right of each woman who is willing to step out and do a job outside her household. So as women, it is our choice to stay at home, and it is a choice to work. In both ways, we continue to contribute to the society, to the well-being, and to each other as well. So sadly, in India today, there are a lot of female dropouts. The percentages of dropouts, female dropouts are high in rural India, but we are slowly, steadily moving towards a future that will one day we'll have each woman who's educated, every girl child with equal opportunity. And it is each of us who are contributing towards this vision and towards this dream. And unfortunately, the rape culture, though in India, the number of rape cases have been going up, it is also that the reporting of these cases have also increased, which is also a positive sign for a developed country. And I wouldn't say that it is the responsibility of a mother to give their son, teach them better to prevent rapes. I don't think it is solely the responsibility of a mother. Yes, positive masculinity needs to be taught to a male child in his young age, but traditional roles prescribing female submission, male dominance have often been linked to rape in various researches. So every woman, every mother, being a mother of two, I know tries her best to bring the children, both male and female, positively. Our next speaker for today's discussion is Priyanka. She is young and vibrant member of Chartered Accountancy Institute. She is one person who has so much talent. She is a talented chartered accountant. She works for a top 4 company. She has written a book on automation, and she can go. I had the pleasure of listening to her on talk on robotics and artificial intelligence, and those you can just read through her book. You can just listen to her for hours. She's so talented, and she's also the champion in archery. I believe she is one box full of talent and energy. So over to you, Priyanka. Really looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you, Mohsin ma'am. Thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I would totally concur with all my female colleagues here, Sakshi, Rajnandini, and Mohsin ma'am, that women definitely play a very important role in our society. And I think it's by far we've been successful in establishing it. And now that we are in a society where women have liberal rights and a lot of other rights which did not exist in the earlier time. But that being said, I would want to highlight a lot of unsung woman heroes, that played a very catalytic role in the entire freedom fight. So just talking about freedom fight, since we all are here on call, I'm sure all of y'all would have seen that movie Sardar Udham. If y'all haven't, I would really recommend all of y'all to see it, because after I saw that movie, I was really inspired and proud that so many people who aren't, so well known as freedom fighters, or who haven't, come across in our history books, have played such catalytic and significant roles in the entire freedom fight. Even in their small ways, they played such a major role that today we, sit in our democratic country in a free land. We're able to, talk about women's rights. We're able to talk about all our democratic rights, etc. Is because of these unsung heroes, who've played a major role in bringing India where it is today per se. So likely, as called out by other people here, that, British ruled India for like 200 years. So the sacrifice of these unsung heroes apparently, brought us where we are here. But, as we know, we have famous heroes like Mahatma Gandhi, Lokmanya Tilak, Bhagat Singh. When we think about freedom fighters, we only think about the freedom heroes. Like, they are the first things that come to my head. Even when I'm over history, I've entered into the world of professionalism, etc. And every time there's a discussion about freedom fights, etc., we always think about, Mangal Pandey or Sardar Udham or the male heroes that have played, an important role in the freedom fight. And we, of course, have to idolize them because they have played a significant role. But that being said, what the section of the freedom fight that has been overshadowed is our powerful women out there. The contribution of women and the struggle for the independent India cannot be overlooked at all. A lot of courageous women, they actually raised their voice against the British rule. Many led to the streets, processions, held lectures, demonstrations. These women possess a lot of courage and struggles, and had a lot of struggles to, talk about the freedom fights. They actually laid down their lives. But, because of whatever zillion reasons, their names weren't called out, or they did not become so popularly known as the heroes. But their contribution to the entire freedom fight cannot be overlooked. So here I am today, guys, and I would tell you stories of multiple unsung women heroes who apparently played a very important role in the overall freedom struggle. It's just that we do not know about them. But and I'm so glad that the Institute actually gave me an opportunity to, talk about this particular topic. Because even I was not aware. So, when I went across and read about these women, I was so inspired, because every woman, now that I'll talk about them, has played such a catalytic role in their own way. They have they've been such an epitome of courage that, at their age, had I been there, I can't really foresee myself doing something like that, only, to bring freedom to the nation, etc. Whether, they played a role as a freedom fighter, or they played a role as a wife, as a mother, supporting family, etc. So I will give you examples, and you would realize that, they played such a catalytic role, maybe not on the front line, taking a bullet like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, or like Gandhiji, raising voice and awareness for all of us. But they were always there as a back support. Before I divulge into the details for these particular women, I would want to, ask a simple question. And I'm sure this would, bring in a concept, a realization amongst all of you. In terms of why don't we talk about women heroes in our society or in India per se? Because when I, Googled about or when I wanted to read about the women freedom fighters, or whenever I type Freedom India, the top 4 or 5 names that come across is, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahatma Gandhi, Vallabhbhai Patel, Lala Lajpat Rai. So all of these basically come in the top charts. And it's very rare that you have a woman leader who's, coming up and saying that, okay, she played a very important role. So you, of course, how Rajnandini ji spoke about Rani Lakshmi Bai, and she spoke about Savitri Bai Phule. So there are a few women heroes who are spoken about, but there are so many who haven't been called out for their struggles, etc. in the entire freedom call. So did you know that Bal Gangadhar Tilak's wife, Tapi Bai, also known as Satya Barmadi Tilak, also played a very important role. But, she was overshadowed, under the popularity of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, who's known as the father of modern India and a maker of modern India. So apparently, like you see, and we know that quote, behind every successful man, there is a woman. But who actually talks about that woman? At the end of the day, when there is a successful man, he's there. People talk about him and he's famous and we look up to him and we idolize him. But that woman who's actually supporting that man to achieve his goals, in this case, basically achieve the freedom, nobody's ever spoken about them. So today I will talk about these women, and you would realize that these women who have supported these men to achieve the freedom fight have played such an important role. I would like to name 4 of them specifically. Bal Gangadhar Tilak's wife, Satya Barmadi Tilak, like I said. Then Mahatma Gandhi, who's the father of modern nation. We all know he's done. He is the epitome of freedom struggle, non-violence, satyagraha, and so many principles that he's laid down. But how many of us actually talk about Kasturba Gandhi? I mean, she is Mahatma Gandhi's wife, and had she not been overshadowed by the fame and popularity of Mahatma Gandhi, she by herself is a very great freedom leader and had done such great heights and merits in the entire freedom struggle. Also talking about Javeri Ben Patel and Radha Devi. These are the respective wives of Vallabhbhai Patel and Lala Lajpat Rai. Have we ever heard these names in history? Like, have you ever heard or spoken about Javeri Ben Patel or Radha Devi or Satya Barmadi Patel Tilak? I mean, I personally have never heard his name. So this, and again, this is to my gratitude towards the institute that I actually got to read the stories of such, such women who played such courageous stories and such courageous roles in the entire freedom struggle. Let me tell you a small story about Kasturba Gandhi. And she was married off at a very young age. She was barely 13 when she was married off to Mahatma Gandhi. And at a very young age, she was laid a lot of restrictions from her family and her husband. She couldn't go out and she couldn't talk to people, etc. So that's when there was certain feeling of protest, ignited. So women have always been suppressed, and that, eventually leads to a feeling where you want to voice out, you want to fight things out, and you want to, reach that power of equality. And that very feeling, eventually boiled up to becoming a freedom fighter and raising voices to even higher authorities like the British colonial rule, etc. So not just within the family bringing equality for women, but, outside the family when we're fighting for a country, for resilient people who have been oppressed by the British rule. So if I had to literally voice out her story, she was a very resilient freedom fighter. And, she apparently became an integral part of the Indian freedom movement and continued to, participate in the civil disobedience campaign and marches. So women across, India looked up to Kasturba Gandhi for inspiration. So of course, Mahatma Gandhi has always been an inspiration and the father of modern India. But, looking at Kasturba Gandhi's movement and, her contribution towards the nation, there were women who wanted to come out of their houses and not just cook and look after the family, but, to become a part of the freedom marches, to raise voices, whether it's quit India or, go back the Britishers or, raise voices against Inqilab Zindabad. So these were basically multiple marches that were led by female freedom fighters as well. In 1942, Kasturba was, arrested along with Mahatma Gandhi as a part of the Quit India movement. So as you can see, and women have this trait of supporting their better halves in whatever they do in their lives. So we know that Mahatma Gandhi led the Quit India movement and he was arrested for all of this. But nobody knows that Kasturba Gandhi was an equally important participant of the entire Quit India movement. She was there to support Mahatma Gandhi in all of the initiatives that he took over, always leading the marches by his side and raising voices, inspiring a zillion women out there. So, after a lifetime of struggles and protests, the inspirational freedom fighter then breathed her last at Aga Palace in Pune. But, like I said, the story about Kasturba Gandhi is so popular amongst, the youth or the Gen Z that we call off nowadays. And it's so important for us to, understand what these freedom fighters who are our women unsung heroes. It's so important to learn from their journey and their courage that, eventually it helps us in our journey. So I don't know about others per se, but when I read about these women heroes, I was so motivated and inspired that even then, there were women who were ready to, lay down their lives for, the country. And, so you have heroes who are spoken of and, you read them in the history books, etc. And you look up to them. But at the same time, these women were silent supporters. Like they weren't the ones who would be at the forefront, but, from behind their support was very integral. Like had they not been there, we wouldn't have reached what we aim to reach. So the men that are popular enough, and have achieved their goal is because there was a strong support, whether it's moral support or whether it's support in terms of, that you go ahead, you lead the march and I will be there to raise the voice, raise the flag wherever you need me there. So that's when, that's what I refer to when I talk about women heroes. Now I'm going to talk about small stories about these women. I don't think you've ever heard of their names, but each of them have in their own small way have contributed so much to the entire freedom struggle and the entire freedom role that I'm sure all of you would get something to learn from their journey and, eventually be inspired out of it. So I would start with Madam Bhikaji Rustam Kama. I don't know how many of y'all have heard of this particular name, but she was the first woman to raise the Indian flag, to hoist the Indian flag on a foreign soil. She raised it in Germany. She was from a very well-off Parsi family. She did not have to do all of this. But apparently, she had this thing that she had to fight for a country, bring in equality for women. across the country and nation like India, and at the same time, fight for the freedom struggle. So in spite of being from such a well-off Parsi family and, being there in Germany, etc., instead of, enjoying the luxuries of being on a foreign soil, she chose to be a freedom fighter and hoist a flag there. She was actually banned by the Britishers in the Britain land because she did such acts. So imagine the kind of courage you would have. So one thing is where you have your freedom fight on your domestic land, and the other is when you go to the foreign land in order to bring awareness. And I don't know if you all have seen Sardar Udham, but it was very similar, her journey, where she went to a foreign land, she raised her voice, brought in awareness worldwide across the globe. Even the end of her journey was very inspiring, because in spite of being from a rich family, she sold away all her assets and chose to open an orphanage to support girls, like little girls, to, become what they aim to be or aspire to be in their journey in future. So if you want to basically, and there were certain nuances that I picked up from their stories, right? So it's not just that I read about them, and of course it brings in pride, but at the same time, what you learn is that women, apart from, being great homemakers and holding family together, can also be extremely courageous when it comes to voicing our thoughts. And I'm sure a lot of us have seen our recent leaders, like Sakshi and Nandini had pointed out. There are a lot of women leaders who are already leading in the corporates and the country in politics and constitution, etc. So the reason why women lead there, and there should be more of it, is simply because women have the courage to voice out their thoughts, whether it's in the domestic soil or on the international soil per se. And at the same time, women have this very strong emotion of empathy. I mean, that is something that value adds to your overall journey. So she could have chosen to, become a freedom fighter and raise her voice and then settle down. But then eventually she sold off all her assets and, had empathy towards other little girls out there looking up to her and wanted to grow in her journey. So that was my learning from her. I'm sure you all would have learned something from, Madam Bhikaji Rustam Kama. My second story is about this lady called Kanak Lata Barua. She was hailing from a small family in Assam. Again, when I say that women played an important role, she is a woman who actually laid down her life in order to bring us freedom. At the gender age of 18, she actually marched to the Gorakhpur police station in order to unfurl the Indian flag, and she obviously shouted quotes and naras like, the Quit India. She was the first one to be shot dead at that particular protest, but eventually she still had that flag in her hand, and still till her very last breath she had that quote that Quit India movement and Britishers go back. So if you learn something from her journey, it's that even at a tender age of 18, she had the courage to lay her life to bring us freedom. She was actually leading that particular protest. She was standing right in the front. So sometimes women are known to follow men and be behind them, but she was the one who was actually leading the protest, standing right in the front, to unfurl the Indian flag in front of the Britishers. So that's the kind of courage that our lady freedom fighters had. And apparently after I read about her, I always I had this thought that why haven't I read about these women in the past? They have to be called out for. That's something we all need to know about these women. They, even though they did not have multiple achievements under their bucket, and they did not do multiple movements, but one single movement at such a tender age where she kind of lost her life and was eventually able to bring awareness amongst all in the adjoining territory and inspiring women to further join in the movement, is apparently a very important factor that has to be looked into when we actually read about freedom stories, etc. And they really inspire. The next story is about this lady called Mantangini Hazra. So if you are from Kolkata, you would be knowing about this, but she was the first female leader who has a statue in Kolkata. It was built, it was actually put up in 1977. In spite of a statue being there, I doubt if any of the Kolkataites who are there in this particular call would be aware of the role that she kind of played in the entire freedom movement. So Mantangini was known as Gandhi Barua. This woman was highly inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. and which is why she was called by the name of Gandhi Barua. She was so driven and immensely looked up to Gandhiji's teachings that she gave up all of her personal life in order to be a part of the non-cooperation and Quit India movement. Again, when I say that women actually laid down their lives, she was one of those who was shot thrice, and still, she held the tricolor in her hand and shouted Vande Mataram till her very last breath. Now, that is a story that kind of inspires. So imagine if I put myself in her position at today's world, and someone tells me that you have to go lead a protest and shout slogans in spite of being shot thrice, I would hesitate, to be honest. It takes a lot of courage to do something like that. So first, to start your journey from getting inspired and then eventually transforming it into someone where you play a catalytic role. So women like Mantangini, women like the Kanaklata Barua, all of these basically laid down their lives, but I have never heard of their names in history, and which is why I chose to talk about them, talk about their stories. And I want women out here to know that women in the past have also played such important catalytic role in the freedom struggle, and they have to be called out for. So which is why, whenever I speak about women's stories, I always have this thing in mind that women have to empower women. We have to talk about their achievements, and that eventually leads to us getting inspired and empowering each other and growing together as a cohort. That's very, very essential, and that's what these freedom fighters basically teach us. So not just from the mental point of view where women led protests, etc., but also from physically women led. So my next story comes up about this lady called Lakshmi Sehgal. I don't know if you've all heard about it, but all of y'all would have heard about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and, his fight for the freedom struggle. He took a bullet for the nation. We still don't know, it's a conspiracy whether he's alive or not, but we still know that, he played a very important catalytic role. So one hand we had Gandhiji, dealing with the entire freedom struggle in the non-violent satyagraha way, but there were, leaders like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and Bhagat Singh, leading it in a little way where it brought in a movement and it shook the Britishers from the war point of view as well. So when I say Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, the name that comes to my head is Lakshmi Sehgal. So she was a former Indian Army captain, and she was chosen by Netaji to form the Rani Jhansi regiment. So she actually led the regiment and apparently was played a major catalytic role in bringing majority of women to become physically strong and fight for the nation. So like we know women to have empathy, to be mentally strong, to be emotionally strong, but we also know that when given an opportunity, we can also be physically strong, and we are an overall package when it comes to that. So it's not just certain aspects that stick to us, but when put in a situation, when put in a spot, women can also be equally physically strong. So Lakshmi Sehgal, she actually talks about that story, that she built a regiment of 1,000+ women out there, and she fought for the struggle, took in a bullet. She was played an equally catalytic role, and being equally aggressive and vigorous out there on the borders, bringing India freedom. So all of us need to know about that part as well. My next story comes about this lady called Suchita Kripalani. If y'all don't know about her, let me tell you, she was the first chief minister serving the UP government from 1963 to 1967. If you ever get a chance, do read her book, her autobiography, which is titled The Unfinished Autobiography. It's her book, which says that as a child she was a very self-conscious child. She wasn't one of those, who goes out and an extrovert who speaks out or fights for her rights. But as a child, when her father told her the story about the Jallianwala Bagh, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, she shook. And in spite of being an introvert, self-conscious child, she wanted to, make a presence and be a part of the freedom movement. That eventually she, and along with her sister Suchita, eventually evolved and started raising voices when it came to from a tender age in school, and eventually she became the first the first woman chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, where she along with Aruna Asif Ali and Usha Mehta led the Quit India movement and other famous movements like the Go Back India and Quit India movement, etc., where she played a major catalytic role. And she also, we all know the famous speech of Lokmanya Tilak, of the midnight speech of Lokmanya Tilak, but very few know that before he started his speech, it was Suchita Kripalani who actually, sang the national anthem and, supported him in his entire journey towards, giving us the famous midnight speech. So these are women. So if you kind of combine their journeys, starting from Suchita Kripalani, going on to, famous women like Rani of Jhansi and, Savitribai Phule, and going on to the unpopular ones, you see that they played an important role in politics, like Suchita Kripalani, or like Sakshi, who played an important role on the borders, and also, women who laid down their lives for the freedom fight, like Kanaklata Barua and Mantagini Hazara. So they were there. It was an holistic picture. They weren't just there behind supporting men like Kasturba Gandhi and Javeri Bain, supporting the men to achieve their goals, but they were also there in the forefront. They laid their lives in order to, achieve the freedom, or they basically went ahead and fought for the nation, or, they came to the constitution and, like Suchita Kripalani, voiced out and played an important role in laying down the first constitution of India. So they were there all across, whether it's politics, whether it was war front, or whether it was basically supporting men to achieve their goals. So if you see the overall picture, these women, even though they're not known for the roles that they played, they were there across in every field that eventually led us to the freedom fight. And what I understand from their journey, and I'm sure all of you all also do, is that although we do not have that kind of, so right now, of course, women are called for whatever contributions that they have towards the nation, towards achieving their goals, etc. Whether a company is making profits because of a woman director or because of a woman CEO, CFO, etc., they are given due credits. But during those times, it wasn't very popular to call out women leaders and give them their due credits, which they truly deserve. So and of course that fashion has to follow eventually. So right now also, if you feel, there is, of course, awareness that women need to be given their due credit, but it's a slow learning. We are evolving as a nation, we are evolving as a world, we are evolving as a global country. Women are being put into their place and being given due credits for whatever they did for the entire world and nation. But it's high time that we start recognizing these leaders who played a very important role right since the start. It's not that from now on, in the 21st century, it's women who have started playing an important role, and there were earlier women who were just homemakers and supporting men. But apart from supporting men, they did a lot of other things that eventually led to where we are today, whether it's the freedom struggle or whether it's forming the constitution, or like I obviously voiced out, fighting the freedom fights, etc. So there are multiple other heroes that I carry stories of. I would just call out their names because I'm overrunning time, but I'm so excited to talk about their stories. There's so much more to know about their stories. a last story that I would talk about. So I have spoken about a woman as a wife. I've spoken about a woman as a fighter. I've spoken about woman as a political leader, as a constitutional leader. The last story that I would want to mention is a woman as a mother. And that would basically let me talk about Moolmati. Not many of us would have heard about Moolmati, but she is actually the mother of Ram Prasad Bismil. Again, Ram Prasad Bismil is a famous freedom fighter. You would have read about him in your history books. So what role did Moolmati play in Ram Prasad's journey? She was a very simple homemaker and a mother of 2 sons. She always supported Ram Prasad Bismil in all his freedom movements and struggle. He was sentenced to death, and she played a very strong role in his entire journey. So before he was going to be hanged, when she went to meet Ram Prasad Bismil had tears in his eyes, not because he was going to be hanged, but he was really moved by the courage his mother had. She sat there with a smile and she was unmoved by the decision. And she said, "I'm proud of you because you are playing a very important role in bringing freedom to India and bringing justice to so many your brothers and sisters in the country out here." So, and when he breathed his last, the last thought that he had, and which is what is written about him, and he also gave a speech just before he was being hanged, and he said that I am actually proud of having such mothers who actually encourage and are ready to give up their sons for the entire freedom struggle. So after Ram Prasad Bismil was hanged, she actually went to another a public charade, and she raised this hand of her second son, and she said, "I'm ready to offer him for the nation as well." So like you can see, women play a very important role as mothers too. I mean, which mother would want to sacrifice her son for the nation? No mother would do that, but Moolmati apparently did that, and that played a major catalytic role in the freedom struggle. So like I said, women as the last role and the most important role as mothers also played a very important catalytic role in the entire freedom struggle, and that actually completes the entire cohort. So women as mothers, women as wives, women as the political leaders, women as the war front leaders, they were everywhere. It's just that they're not spoken of. And when I read about all these leaders, all that has done to me in my entire journey of, preparing this entire, speech for all of you all is just be inspired. And a lot of pride that it's not just now that women are, playing major catalytic roles, but even then, they were everywhere. It's just that they're not spoken of. So it's high time we should start recognizing and start talking about them. So that's all for my speech. I would hand it back to Mohsin ma'am to take the session forward. But thank you so much, and I would really recommend all of you all to please Google about these women fighters. All their stories are so interesting. I have like 40 more here, but I obviously can't talk about each one of them. But there's so much to know about their stories and learn about it, and start talking about them, women, because we have to empower other women out here.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, and thank you for organizing the presentation in a way that you touched upon. I feel as women, we have several lives, as mother, as daughters, as an individual, and you touched upon all of those, and you kind of brought home the point that no matter where we are, we're always part of change. We are always making positive contributions everywhere. So, and I have always firmly believed that each time a woman stands up for herself, she, without knowing it possibly and without ever even claiming it, she stands up for all the women. So thank you so much for bringing those stories out. I agree with you 100% that these stories need to be read. These need to be understood in a way that they inspire us, and they let us know that as educated women, as uneducated women, as working women, as being at home women, we are important, we are a vital part of the nation, and our contributions matter. So thank you so much. And one of the story that I grew up hearing from my mom and my dad, and I was reminded after your session was of Hazara Begum. She was born in Rampur to a very wealthy family, and she was sent away to Britain for education, where she joined the Indian movement. She became the first person on the. I think she is she's one of the founders of Indian National Women Congress, and she then eventually, in her later part of the life, was participated in World Peace Conference in Vienna. Also, I think it was 1950s. So this is one story that my father told us, that you to inspire us to become to play a major role wherever we are. Let's help each other out. Let's bring the best out of each other. So thank you so much for that lovely presentation. It was so inspiring. I'm definitely going to Google some of those women. Now the floor is open for question. Can we have other speakers also on cameras, please? Sakshi ma'am, are you here with us? Rajnandini ma'am. So we have a couple of questions from the audience. One of the first question is, women shouldered critical responsibilities in India's struggle for freedom, yet their contribution and sacrifices is less recognized. What is the reason behind this? So, Priyanka, you want to take that question?
Right. I will take that question, Mohsin ma'am. So like I said, it's been a trend since generations that, women have been known to be, the family makers and holders and, the back support and moral support of a particular movement or family movement or, achievements in the family, etc. So the major reason why they're not spoken of or they're unsung heroes is that, like I said, during those times, it was men who actually led the baton, that there were women who were basically supporting them, whether morally, on the ground or in the constitution, etc. But there was always a face. So that's where we actually get our quote from, that behind every successful man is a woman. So that behind is why the woman was not spoken of earlier. And like I said, now it's changing. Things are being changed. And now women are, at the forefront. So it's not just behind every successful man, there's a woman. But now there's also a saying that behind every successful woman, there is a man. So, the women are now being brought to the forefront. But yes, there was a trend in the earlier past, where, women were supposed to, and they were known for their roles of support, and they weren't called out for being the lead or the leaders of the moment, but there has been a change eventually.
Yes, I agree with that. No, we are the shadows that were there, but often during the light, they were not seen. So I agree with that. So the next question is, how does the involvement of women in Indian freedom inspire us? The current, the modern women, how do you feel inspired by them?
Right. So like I said, that women were so courageous and so strong-willed, apparently, that when I read their stories, and I know I mentioned that I think multiple times in my speech, that every time I read a story, it actually inspired me, that whatever I do, I have to be strong-willed and courageous. I cannot afford to shy away from things just because I'm a woman out there and I cannot speak. So, when I walk into a corporate meeting where, there are 8 men and I'm like the only woman sitting there, I do not shy away to, put across my thoughts there, and also lead presentations. I'm not there just to sit and listen, but I'm also there to voice out my thoughts. So, these journey of these women who were, equally there to lead movements, etc., lay down their lives, be courageous. Just if I try to, pick up those nuances and those aspects from their journey, I learned that I'm there. I have to be courageous enough to put across my thoughts. Even though I am a woman, I represent an important part of the society, and I'm here to empower other women as well. So which is why, their traits, these traits of, being courageous, strong-willed, not shying away, really helps in today's times as well.
Yes, and I think that is so true. Like I face the same thing when in a meeting I'm the only woman at times, and I have this little voice in my head that tells me that I need to do this not just for myself, for a junior female who who is inspiring to come into that meeting one day. So I have that responsibility on my shoulders, not just for myself, but also for a fellow colleague who looks up to us, who wants to be this maybe a school girl who is still in school and wants to be a chartered accountant next. So we have to do this for others as well. So as women, we always have that small voice that tell us that we have to find that courage, look within, pull that confidence out, because you are here and this is your only chance, not just to make it right for you, but also for our fellow colleagues. So the other question the viewers have asked is that, no, we always been told that we are the weaker section, we are not physically strong. So how do you find the courage and to challenge that thought, and to just to come out of it? Sakshi, you want to take that question?
Yeah, sure. I would like to answer it like this is because this VCM, these kind of webinars is conducted to tell women the stories, the stories of those courageous, those modern women who are inspiring us to bring about a change in this world. That's what all those women who are understated, who think they are being under depressed, they are being told this story to be courageous, to come out of their comfort zone and to bring about a change in the world. So this is the reason why these kind of webinars are organized. So I think this is the answer.
I'm sure that the audience today is going home inspired and are going to remember this when they face a difficult situation next time. So and there's just one incident from life that I had experience of. So I was working with this this NGO, and we were working for women who face violence in villages. So sometimes when we look at those women, we feel that they are more they don't have courage. They are being suppressed. So one of the women told us that her husband beats her every day. So we said, what is it that you do? So she went on and she said, he gives me 10, I give him 1 back. So you may be physically, she was physically not as stronger as her husband, but she did find that courage to give 1 back. And I think that is where what matters. We may not be physically strong, but that should not hold us back from fighting back.
Yes, ma'am. And even I feel like apart from freedom fighters who gave us freedom from Britishers, we have fighters in today's time as well. Women fighters who are just fighting against the oppression or patriarchy, you can say. So even those women are someone we can look up to.
Yes. Totally. Every day we have so many examples around us, and I had a friend who she's professionally very strong. She's a doctor, and she was married to another doctor, and she faced so much mental torture and so much domestic violence. She had also took a time to find that courage and come out of it. So So being educated, being working, being non-working it becomes equal. We are all equal when it comes to finding that women's spirit within us, and so we have to look within and find.
I feel yes. And I feel like we like women who are balancing both the profession as well as their family life are fighters today.
Yes, definitely. Preparing a presentation and preparing a tiffin, it's like 30 minutes time for us, whether it is PPT or whether it is kids' lunch. We kind of juggle between them. So,
absolutely. Just to add to Shanu ma'am, when you say a woman is strong, you do not want to define her as just being physically strong. Like the definition of strong is really skewed. When you say a woman is strong, she's there, she's out there mentally, she's out there emotionally, she's out there where she carries multiple other aspects.
And she not gives 100% to each and every task you assign her, I must say.
Yes, absolutely. So when you say a woman is strong, she carries multiple other aspects that eventually make her a strong woman. Not that she wants to go out and box every man out in the world. She's not there for that. But out there with her courage, her presence, and with her emotional and mental strength, women turn out to be much stronger personalities as compared to men out there. So that definitely makes a woman trait much more strong as compared to a man.
Yes, yes. So, just one more thing, I think it came up in some of the presentation about, it was about women being depressed, like 80% of women are depressed, something of that sort came up. And yes, there are women who are depressed. And I think Deepika being the most famous, Deepika Padukone, who's the Bollywood actress, she has become the most vocal about depression, about mental health. And even with that, she's an excellent Bollywood actress. I'm sure there are mothers who are struggling with mental health, but they continue to be excellent women, housemakers and mothers for their kids, for their husbands, for their family. So together, we have to find strength, not just within us, but also from each other.
Yes. Absolutely, Mohsin ma'am. Absolutely.
I think Sakshi would like to, enlighten us more about women freedom fighters. Sakshi? I think she's facing some network issues.
But I think Priyanka has more stories if you are Sharma, if you want to share.
Yes,
Priyanka, I think do you have something else for us?
Yeah, I have a lot of more women stories, women freedom fighters, like the unsung heroes who haven't been spoken of. Like I said, I carry a lot more stories out there. If you want, I can voice out their stories. I'm sure everybody would be eager out here to, hear more stories about their journeys, etc. And, that would eventually maybe answer a few more questions about people, about, women not being physically strong, women being suppressed, and still playing a very important role out there in the society. So if I have to, pick up more female leaders out there, my next leader would be Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay. So she was a social reformer. She was a distinguished theatre actor and played a very important role in India's freedom fight. She became the first woman from India to be arrested by the British government for her active role for being a patriotic leader. She was a remarkable person and was also referred to as a social reformer, fearless and committed freedom fighter. So basically, she improved the social economic conditions of women in India, revived and promoted handicrafts and theatre. She also participated in Gandhiji's Salt Satyagraha movement. For her legislative assembly, she was the first woman candidate. She was instrumental in establishing All India Women's Conference. So like you can see, her journey actually started from a theatre actor and eventually transformed to, forming All India's Women Conference and, becoming the first woman candidate in the Legislative Assembly. So you can see how evolving a woman's journey can be and, how adaptive a nature of a woman can be, starting from, being a theatre actor to being inspired by Gandhiji and eventually jumping into politics, becoming, the first woman legislative leader and eventually, forming an All India Women's Conference. So that actually highlights how dynamic a woman can be. She can be an actor, she can be a theatre playlist, and eventually, through her journey, learn and then, ace the political world as well. And, eventually how Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay played an important role in the freedom struggle. I don't think you've ever heard of her name, neither have I, to be very honest. But when I read about her story, it just talks about how transformative and dynamic women can be out there. Further talking about other women leaders, there's Kittur Rani Chennamma. Sorry for my pronunciations, but apparently she was the queen of the princely state of Kittur in Karnataka. But yet again, gained recognition across the country for her efforts during the freedom struggle. Against the British policy of doctrine of lapse, she bravely led an army rebellion at the age of 33 in 1824. The resistance ended in her giving up her life and her valor to be an inspiration for every woman today. So as you can see, Kittur Rani Chennamma apparently she was a queen of a princely state. Okay, she could have actually led her life with all the luxuries that she had, being a queen of a particular state. But she chose to be a freedom fighter. So that actually emphasizes the quality of women being great decision makers and strong decision makers. I mean, in spite of having all the luxuries and happiness that she could have had and lived with it, she chose to be a freedom fighter and eventually laid down her life over, one particular British policy that she wanted to fight against. So not a very easy decision to make, being at an important position that she was at that point of time. So again, if going back to the first question or the second question that was asked, that how these women's journey actually inspire me in today's world, it actually inspires me as becoming a strong decision maker. If given a choice to give up all the luxuries that I have at this point of time, and sometimes women also quit job nowadays to look after their families. Women have maternity leaves, and then eventually they take a year or two's break in corporate life, which actually slows down their entire corporate journey. And a similar male counterpart who started their journey would eventually become like a CEO, CFO, and she would still be at a director position because she took that break of maternity, looking after her kids, or maybe she's got newly married or entering into a new phase of life. So women, apparently, in spite of going through that particular phase, are strong decision makers, that in spite of being at a high or in their careers, they choose to give that up to choose something towards their moral responsibilities to look after their family. I'm sure women nowadays are multitasked and they learn how to juggle both, but there are a lot of women who give up those highs in their life to achieve what they want. So that's what Kitu Rani's journey teaches me, that right from being a queen at her time, she actually gave up her life to eventually fight against a particular British policy. That's not something that any easy freedom. It's not an easy decision for any freedom fighter to take up. So that's something I definitely learned from her journey eventually. Similarly, like I said, I have spoken about Moolmati and Lakshmi Sehgal, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, Kitu Rani Chanappa, Suchita Kriplani. These are all forgotten women leaders, right? So when I want to talk about each one of their journeys, I would obviously want to deep dive into where they came from, what they did, eventually what was the final sacrifice, how did we achieve freedom out of all of their eventual decisions and sacrifices that they made for the nation. Every aspect, from where their journey started to where they have actually contributed to the overall freedom struggle, everything is inspiring. It's not just so that you basically build your general knowledge and you need to know about it, but trust me, their journeys actually help you learn, in every phase of life. Even in today's generations, there are multiple qualities and aspects and nuances that you can pick up from their journey and put it in today's world. So these were the leaders that I actually read about, and like I said, there are so many more out there that I still have to go and read, and because of this particular session that I have been invited to, it's just ignited the fire that I have to read about every woman freedom fighter who has been an unsung hero out there and not spoken of so often. And I think I'm going to do that. Like every time I meet my friends or meet my colleagues, etc., I am going to quote their examples and say that, what, it's not just today that women are playing catalytic roles. It's been since generations. It's just that they're not spoken of. So I would want to, not quote just, one of Mahatma Gandhi's slogans or phrases when I, give out examples, but I would want to quote stories of these women, and their journeys when I kind of want to incorporate or make a point across, people I meet. So
yes, and I think that is how we become the part of a change that we really want to see in the society. By these small little things, we kind of make a little bit of progress. So Raj Nandini ji is with us, and I wanted to ask if there's any advice you want to give out to today's women on professional or society level and on society level. Raj Nandini ma'am, are you there?
Yes.
So
one advice I wanted to give, actually, there are many women who are still struggling with their life. But yes, as Priyanka ma'am has well said, that whenever we feel, low into our life, because being a woman is a challenging task, but we are given this task because God thought that we are capable enough to handle all this. So whenever we need inspiration, I feel that freedom fighter women who have fought to, get us the freedom are an inspiration. They have fought for the freedom of the world, and we are fighting for our own freedom, I feel so. So that's like an inspiration which we get from freedom fighters like Sarojini Naidu and this Rani Lakshmi Bai and Savitribai Phule. There is again one more freedom fighter, I would say, who has inspired me as a mother. There was an incident in this Moolmati. She is a freedom fighter. There was an incident. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
We know we're looking forward to that incident. I just spoke about Moolmati being the mother, playing an important role in the freedom fight. But like I said, there's so much more on their journey. So would love to hear from you.
So it's like, not every patriot fought for independence in the forefront. Some of them quietly stood with their strength. Like mother of famous freedom fighter Ram Prasad Bismil. Moolmati was one of those revolutionaries. There are few records about Moolmati, but one incident that is very crucial, I feel, is days before when Bismil was to be hanged, Moolmati went to his son. As Bismil broke down at the sight of his mother, Moolmati remained firm and solemnly told Bismil that she was proud of having a son like him. So when a words like this a patriot hears, whenever he's going to be hanged also, when he hears words like this, that's a true inspiration, which we as a woman can give to our children. We as a woman can give to our husband. Like Priyanka ma'am has, I guess she has well presented on it, that how as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, how woman has fought. So I feel this very connected with this incident, because I feel it's like igniting the fire within me. So whenever professionally, while balancing my work life and professional life, I face issues, I feel that this is the best inspiration which I get. That in spite her son was being hanged, she was there to say that she's proud to have a son like him. So I feel we as a woman have so much of courage. We as women can do wonders into our life, and we simultaneously can impact various lives. So I feel to, just be inspired by those freedom fighters. At least whenever we feel low, we can look back to our histories and ignite the fire within us, have the courage within us, and fight, relentlessly. That's all what I can say.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that inspiring.
Personally, ma'am, I would like to add, if I'm allowed.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
When I was telling people, a few of my friends, that I have to take a lecture on this role of women in society, the one question they immediately asked me, why do women need inspiration to do anything? And I was speechless. Why do women need inspiration? Why don't we have topics like role of men in society? So if anybody would like to give answer on this, I would be very pleased. Then if Priyanka, you would try to give an answer on this. Okay, why do we need such kind of inspiration? Why women need inspiration to do something? Why that inspiration is not inbuilt? Why do we look at others for anything to continue to work? Why?
Right. Thank you, Sakshi. That is a question that even I have had since I have had a child. Since I have been a child, I have always asked my mom that, Mama, why is it that we always talk about, the men in the house? Why don't we talk about the female in the house? So that question actually started from my house, and eventually in school and in my corporate journey as well. It's always, there have always been, topics like women need to be inspired, women need to learn from women. But Sakshi ma'am, I want to tell you this, that this has actually come from the journey that women have started. They've actually started from a very low journey where they were suppressed in the society, where they did not have a place where they could talk or, play an important role. And even if they did, they played it behind the curtains, like they weren't talked about or they weren't out there. So, which is why we have actually gone through a journey from extreme lows to being at a place where a woman can actually be a president of a country or a prime minister of a country or a CEO, CFO of a particular country or a company. So the journey apparently has been slow, but it has been a learning journey for us. Like we had to fight our way up. Being in this particular male dominant patriarchal society, women always have to fight. to make a place for themselves, to empower other women. So which is why we have these topics of women inspiring other women, women empowering other women, women learning from other women examples, because the society is designed in such a way that we are actually in a male dominant society. So we obviously live in a democratic country, but there are certain parts of India where such acts or certain practices are still prevalent, where women are still suppressed. They're still not educated, and for such women, the other women who have been privileged enough to evolve with the 21st century and have had the opportunities for good education, make a place for themselves in the corporate society, we actually have this moral responsibility to stand up for the other women. And women, like I said, have this quality of being, have this quality of empathy and being inspiring across, so that we grow together. It's not that we just want to grow for ourselves, but we want to grow as a cohort together. So which is why we have these sessions where women need to inspire women, because men have already made a place for themselves in the society. The society is just designed for them. We are the ones who have to make a place for themselves, make a place for ourselves, and eventually stand and shine. Which is why such sessions are very important, because we want to bring out this awareness of equality. Of course, I might be a feminist and not talk about men being chauvinist out there, etc. But at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is bringing equalism across, all the states, not just in our country, but across the world, etc. So we do have leaders, etc. And to be inspired is basically very important, reach that stage of equalism. Turning out our helping hands towards all those little girls in the little villages who are still, suppressed and, suppressed to look towards dreaming big or achieving big dreams, etc. So which is why, Sakshi ma'am, I feel it's very important for us to inspire each other and empower each other, and men don't need it. So because it's somehow there for them since day one, and I think they kind of take it for granted, but we don't, because we've learned, we have gone through a tough journey to achieve where we have reached in this society today.
Thank you, Priyanka. That was an interesting thought. And like Priyanka said, that even I'm a feminist. So one thing I have always said to people is that feminism is not about men versus women. It is about people versus prejudice. That we want gender equality. It is not about men versus women. It is not about we trying to put the men down. Or no, I know there was this Mother's Day was celebrated, and suddenly then Father's Day started being celebrated, then Sister, then every day now is being celebrated. So it's not that we don't love our fathers. It's just that we need to be more vocal about inequalities towards women, so that those things change. We want to be a part of that change. It is not about men versus women. It's just about being against prejudices. And unfortunately, India is a patriarchal society. We are living in a patriarchal society, and things are changing, but change is a very slow and process. So we just have to keep at it.
I think women need inspiration because of the uneven distribution of work-family conflict. Work-family, right? So women need inspiration from other women, how to carry on her
I agree with you, Sakshi. Like society, they expect a woman to multitask. We have so many roles assigned for us, So we need something which can inspire us to go beyond our comfort level.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, beyond
even Indira Nooyi, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm go ahead.
Ma'am, but then a second school of thought comes to my mind that if being a woman, I'm duty bound towards my home, then being a professional, I should be duty bound towards my profession too. It was my decision to be a professional. Nobody else told me to be a professional. Right? Yes. So this motivation should come from inside. This motivation, this inspiration. External motivations are always a short term. As long as we heard the stories, we feel motivated. But as soon as we start motivating ourselves from inside, I think it will keep the fire in us alive. And if someone would talk about my idea of being an independent woman, then again, I am not in a favor of feminism, because I always feel that, male and female has some different set of abilities and, responsibilities. You cannot compare a man with a woman. I always feel if I have to be an independent woman, I will compare myself to myself. What I was yesterday, what I am today, and what I will be tomorrow. What I was not able to do yesterday, I will able to do. I should be able to do it today. And what I am not able to do it today, I should be able to do it tomorrow. So this is my concept of being Atmanirbhar women. So
and that is really that is true, Sakshi. And just to add that as you say that this is your concept, and mine would be that household is a unit, right? It is equally mine and equally my husband's. It is not about that men and women. It's about a partnership. So when we marry someone, when we have kids, it's a partnership that we are bringing to the table. As chartered accountant, you have seen so many partnership deeds. You have each deed has this roles and responsibility allotted to each partner, and that's how, for me, the concept of house is like that we are a partners, and each partner, if we are 50-50, we have 50-50 profit sharing ratio, then we should have 50-50 profit sharing duties. So that's how I see it. And for us, we are all talking about chartered accountants. Like we are in a position to make that choices. This was how we have been groomed in our house. These are the opportunities that our parents gave us. No, you have to give them credit. But there is a young girl in some house right now who is struggling with the right of going to a school. So she needs to have that external motivation. She needs to get that external influence, external confidence, because she cannot find it within the four walls of her own house, because that's the struggle she's having, a struggle to simply go to a school. So becoming a chartered accountant for her is a far distant dream. Right now for her is that she wants to go and attend a class 1 school. So that's where the external motivations come into force. That's where she can look around and say, okay, if that young girl could go to the school, I can do it too. I have met girls from some villages who have walked 10 kilometers. They walk every day 10 kilometers to attend a school. And they are forced to drop out when their menstrual cycle kicks in, because the mothers, the fathers, the grandparents, they feel the girl has grown and she cannot step out of the house. So that's the struggle she feels. So she needs that motivation to say no to them, to their own family, to their own father, to their own mother, that I have the right to go to the school. You cannot ask me to stop going to school because I'm on my periods. So that's where the external motivation plays an important role. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for the interesting discussion that we have. And as I think we can go on for hours and hours and hours and talk about it, but unfortunately we are time bound. So thank you so much. Thank you, WMEC, for helping us conduct this, giving us a platform where we can openly, confidently voice our opinions, and often those are different from each other's, and we are willing to share the same platform voicing those. So each of us is important, and I would like to congratulate us for holding this a very successful event. Thank you so much.
Shani, thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the speakers of today's program, and thanks a lot.